What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin Bees. I'm a wife, a mom, a military veteran, a certified personal trainer, and I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out, and now I'm using all of my social media platforms to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by their reps. If you'd like to follow me on social media, here's how you can do that. I'm the most active on Instagram, especially in my stories, so you can check me out there. And we're just going to get right into today's video. I feel like this is a really important topic to talk about. And I don't know if you guys have heard, but Toni, the very first Monat market partner, was terminated from the company, and she and her husband have put out a video. And I think that it's a great opportunity for us to talk about the situation, the scenario, and hopefully you guys are here to hear my thoughts as well. So let's get into the video and yeah, yikes.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's been a minute since I've been on Instagram. We wanted to share something with you because we've had some challenges that we've had over the last couple of, well, actually year and a half. And so let me give you a little bit of a timeline. So what had happened is that back at the end of 2022, I was asking some tough questions. We had our leaders coming to us, trying to get answers on certain things, and we just never did. So
now I know that she probably can't be very specific, but if you're going to give a timeline, I feel like that needs to be specific. I know she mentioned 2022, but it would be interesting to see or to hear what questions she was asking of the company, I'm assuming from this, that they were not getting answers from. Not starting off well, in my opinion.
You know, I still pursued it because we weren't getting the answers that we needed. So what had happened during this time is that I decided to, ask harder questions. And that was resulting in what has happened over the last 6 months of, for lack of a better word, they started building back in February a compliance file against us. And they were citing all of these things, but they weren't sending any examples. So I just kept...
See, now, what kind of things were they citing? Because this is, in my opinion, what happens when these companies want to do whatever they want. Doesn't matter if you're the first distributor in the company, if you're the last distributor in the company, doesn't matter. They can essentially do whatever they want. And this is a perfect example. Another example of this is what happened to Justin Prince. He was terminated as well. They can do, in my opinion, whatever they want. And that's why I talk all the time about reading through your distributor agreement before you sign up with a company, because some of these companies will claim your social media platforms that you have built into their agreement. If you've ever commented, posted, or whatever about their products, that's written into some of the agreements. And so while I am empathetic to what Toni and her husband are going through, this is an example of what these companies can do. You're not your own business owner, because if you were, you wouldn't be able to be terminated like they were. It wouldn't happen that way.
My head down. I hired a litigator 6 weeks ago because it had gotten to the point where it escalated, and Jay and I felt that we had no choice but to hire legal counsel. Okay? So, be that as it may, one of the dogs got out. Be that as it may, we have had no other choice. And I'm going to read this statement that my attorney helped me write, but we had no other choice to do what we're doing right now. As a result of that, with me not complying, and again, you guys, these were false accusations. I asked them to provide me proof, and after the 8th email, they sent me some Instagram lives that I had done, reels that they wanted me to take down, and I said, why? They couldn't give me a reason. So what?
See, this seems a little bit vague. Were you making income claims on the reels? And I don't know. If you guys know, feel free to comment below, but were you making health claims? Were you making income claims? What was it that specifically the company was wanting you to take down? I'm not defending Monat by any means, but because there are policies and procedures in place, and essentially these companies can do whatever they want to a certain extent, I just feel like more information should be shared. And let me just play devil's advocate. Maybe her lawyer has said, don't go into any detail about it. But I think that if the lawyer didn't want her to talk about it, then this video would not be up. So that part is kind of confusing to me because it's like, well, what were they accusing you of doing? Why did they want to take that down? She's not mentioning that. So to me, it just feels like she's trying to build her case on her side without giving what I feel like would be important details.
What I did is I got John involved, who is our attorney, John Roberts out of Santa Rosa in Florida. Got our attorney involved, and we wrote a formal letter. And he wrote it on my behalf because I'm not a lawyer, wrote it on my behalf, and I sent it to Ray asking for my legal counsel to be present with their compliance team so we could figure this out, and we were denied. Okay?
Wow.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the official statement because now, as of yesterday, they have terminated us. Okay? You guys, if this had not happened, just because of what has happened over the last few weeks, we were going to resign next week once my legal complaint was officially filed, which it has not been done yet. So it has gone to that, but it hasn't been, the clerk hasn't issued it yet. So
I find that interesting. And my question is, I wonder how long they've been talking behind the scenes about resigning. And if they have been talking about that for several months, it just makes me wonder what they were saying to their team in that time frame. Were they getting on the trainings and saying, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, we're here for life. Keep going, guys. Keep trying to recruit. Keep trying to sell this overpriced product. And I'm not saying that that's what they were doing. I just have a lot of questions because she's saying, oh, well, it was only the last couple weeks that we were going to resign once the lawsuit or whatever is filed. But to me, I'm kind of like, well, but if you knew that there were issues all the way back to 2022 and you were catching heat from compliance, I don't know. Maybe just my opinion, just my thoughts. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments, but.
If the whole thing is that I love this industry. I love this industry. I've been in it for 30 years. I will be in it and I will continue to do what I love. But I just want you to hear me out. Okay. So this is the statement that John and I wrote. As most of you know or have heard, there's been a schism atop the leadership of Monat. I've heard from many of you asking for information about what is happening, whether there is to be a lawsuit, and what comes next in my future. I want to be very clear. I have chosen to be silent recently because it was in my best interest to do so. I'm breaking that silence because I believe you need to hear things from my perspective. Now, I'm greatly concerned about the direction of the company that you and I and us have helped to build. This is not a new sentiment, also not one that I share alone.
Okay, my question, I'm sorry to pause so soon, but if you knew things were unethical or you were concerned about the direction that the company was moving towards, is that something that was just recent? Or was it okay back at the end of 2022 when compliance was coming after you for certain things? Was it okay back then because you were still making money with the company, considering you were the first distributor? I'm just curious because all of a sudden now you're going to say, oh, well, now let's talk about this. There's things that you guys need to know after you've been terminated. I just find the timing of that really interesting. I'm going to say interesting a lot because some of the angles in this are fascinating to me, but also I think a really good example of what can happen in these companies and why the anti-MLM movement says, hey, you are not a business owner, because this would not happen if you actually were a business owner.
No, most of you have heard about what's going on and even read the complaint that has been filed by the former president, Stuart McMillan, against the company.
Side note, sorry again for the pause. Savannah did a live stream covering that lawsuit, so I'll make sure I link that in the video description so you guys can go and check that out. Quite an interesting lawsuit, to say the least.
While I'm not privy to all of the facts alleged in Stuart's complaint, I am privy enough to be gravely concerned about the allegations contained therein. I'm also gravely concerned about the method and the manner the company continues to use in its attempts to keep a very serious issue quiet. Stuart was brave to come forward, and all of his honesty will almost certainly be met with scorn and decision at the highest levels of Monat. I want to make very clear that I do stand with him. Now, mind you, we are on Team Toni and we are on Team Truth because that's where it lies. The truth always comes to light. So I want to make that very clear. And I also want to make very clear, I had no idea what was going on, and I just want people to know that. So all of the conspiracy theories and the collusion, that's not happening. Okay.
I don't know. I think people can definitely come up with their own opinions for sure. And I think that you being the top distributor, you had to have known some things if you were the number one distributor in Monat. And I think what she's referring to in the lawsuit, allegedly Ray was, and again, allegedly, was using Monat funds to pay his bills, credit cards, things of that nature. That's according to the lawsuit. And my question is, for any of the tax people, the accountants in the comments, how do they hide that? If they are using business funds to pay off personal debt and paying personal bills and such, how do they have an accountant or somebody that's running their books or, that type of thing? How do they hide that? Wouldn't that be something that could be discovered? And maybe that will happen if this case goes to discovery. Although I don't think that it's in their best interest. When I say their best interest, I mean Monat, because what's going to come out in discovery, So just kind of food for thought. Wanted to discuss that with all of you guys and just see what your thoughts were.
Okay. To end, sorry, you guys, I'm trying to read this because my computer is behind my phone. To end that, you may have heard that yes, I am filing my own lawsuit, and so I've worked too hard to let this company pull the rug out from under my feet and imperil my livelihood and your income streams.
How is you being terminated going to impact other people's income streams? That feels like you're just trying to rally your downline because you've been terminated. That's what that feels like to me. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. But if her income was shut down completely because she was terminated, that's not necessarily going to impact her downline's income. That would impact Monat's income because now they're not having to pay out whatever she was earning. So I find that phrasing very interesting. I'm sure that this is a very, very highly emotionally charged situation. I'm sure she's extremely frustrated. How could you not be? But at the same time, I'm like, well, but that phrase doesn't make any sense because your downline is not going to be impacted financially because you were terminated. That to me just feels like she's trying to rally the troops in a sense.
This company together, and I'm not willing to be intimidated by the behavior of the corporate and some of the other leaders at the top. I have engaged with John Roberts, and he is busy undertaking and getting all of the facts in order to represent me against what I perceive as a vicious attempt to separate me from a company that I have helped build.
And let's talk about that for a second. What are some possibilities that you think Monat would want to get rid of their number one distributor? I have a couple theories. One, she was asking too many questions. She was making too much noise. Two, they didn't want to pay her. I don't know what her check was like. I don't know, what it's been like in the past or what, is it the same? Has it decreased? I don't know. However, being the first distributor in Monat, getting in early, she was probably making significant income. Maybe it's dropped in the last few years just because of how loud the anti-MLM movement has become, which shout out to you guys. Y'all are such an important part of this movement. It is unbelievable, and we appreciate you. So I think that they just didn't want to pay her. Because what happens with that income? If an MLM company, and I brought the same thing up on the Justin Prince termination video. If an MLM company terminates one of their top leaders, what happens to that income that was meant to be paid out? Obviously, they terminated them because there was some sort of a breach in contract. So my question is, do you guys think that when this happens and the lawsuits happen and they end up settling out of court, they essentially just say, okay, well, we'll pay you what your check was in the amount of, to settle this?
Okay. So the rules are no longer being applied. And we have all agreed and not paying commissions in line with the agreements that we all worked to agree to. I simply cannot stand idly by while the lives of those who have given their time, energy, and effort are separated without cause.
Are we talking about a group of people or are we talking about you? Because you said you were Team Toni and Team Truth, but some of the language that she's using here, again, feels like she's just trying to rally the troops. And maybe she is. Maybe that's the whole point of this. Maybe there's a class action or something happening. I have no idea. But the language here I find really, really interesting. She was wronged. So it's like she wants people to think she was wronged in her opinion, but it's like she wants people to think, well, her income is impacted, so theirs will be too. Maybe there's some comp plan changes coming. I mean, we've known for quite some time that Monet is a sinking ship. But the thing that I'm having a hard time with is this is somebody in upper leadership, or was in upper leadership in the company. And I'm sure that there were things that she saw that she didn't speak on because she was getting paid. Now that she's not getting paid, it feels to me like she's trying to rally the troops in order to, I don't know, put the nail in the coffin, if you will, for Monet, which I'm here for it. But it just seems a little bit manipulative, in my opinion.
Here's where the simplicity is, you guys. I want to hear from you. I'm tremendously disappointed in the manner that we've been treated, and I know that some of you feel the same. I want you to be able to reach out to me so that we can share our disappointments and I can learn more about how you've been mistreated in the same way as I have. I'm open to answering your questions to the best of my abilities, but only with facts, as long as my counsel continues to allow me to do so without harming my case. I invite each of you to reach out, share your story so that I can better understand how you are being treated.
But why wouldn't you be concerned about this while you were a part of the company? Why is it now all of a sudden that you're like, hey, I want to hear how you've been wronged by this company? I mean, the anti-MLM movement has been screaming how unethical this company is and how people have been treated in these companies. But now, because it fits your narrative and your lawsuit, now all of a sudden you're looking for evidence from other people. I just feel like that's really odd.
We are, for better or worse, in this fight together. And I would like your support as we move towards a fair and just resolution. You guys, it's been a joy to be here for the last 10 years. It's been my honor. Moving forward, I am very excited about what the future holds.
I wonder if that means she's going to another company, because we know that's typically what happens. We've seen it before. You know, they have this emotional event, they get terminated, they leave the company, something happens, and they go to another company. That's just what happens.
This was very, very hard for us to do. It was not easy. It took us a year to get to this decision.
A year to get to what decision? That you were going to leave the company? That you were going to resign in a couple of weeks, but they terminated you instead? Did you see unethical practices within that year? I just have so many questions because the timeline is so interesting. Again, I'm going to say that word a whole lot. The timeline is just interesting to me. It was okay in the last year or so. Why? Because you were getting paid? Was your downline getting paid? No, because we know what the income disclosure statement looks like. And if you want to check it out, you can look in the video description for that. But now because you were terminated and now you don't have that income, now it's unethical?
And this hasn't been without a lot of tears. It hasn't been without a lot of angst, a lot of sleepless nights, and doing the best of what I could do for our team, because this is really what it's all about. But it's also about my family too. But
you're talking about your team, but you're the only one that was terminated that I'm aware of. Are there other people that have been terminated because of her content or her asking questions? Are we talking about you personally? You know, your lawsuit? Or are you trying to get a bunch of people together for a class action? I'm just really confused because it feels like sometimes she's talking about her and then other times she's like, I'm doing this for you guys. Well, really? Because she was the one that was terminated. So how does... I don't know. I'm confused by that.
Last thing is that my reputation, my name, our integrity will not be associated or tarnished by anyone. That is what I live for. There is no amount of money or paycheck that will ever be worth our name. So, with that being said, I just want to say I truly love you guys. I hope that you found that I am telling this to you as just truly being here for so many years, and we're just very, very grateful. The relationships that we have built are number one, and they will always continue to be number one. So with that being said, you are more than free to and welcome to reach out. Honey, did you have anything to add?
You know, like Toni said, the past couple of years, it's not just the past, literally year, it's the past couple of years, have not been easy on anyone involved with the company. And we're grateful for all the relationships that we've made along the way. We're leaving with no hate. We have nothing but love for all of you. And the one thing I want you to keep in mind is over the next few days, there's gonna be a lot of team meetings and a lot of posts and a lot of things about how to handle the fallout of them getting rid of us. Before you fall into the gossip and the innuendos and everything, consider who it's coming from, considering why it's being done. But most importantly, you know us.
Okay, first of all, let's take this example and let's put it into, would this happen in the real world? And when I say the real world, I mean a traditional job. If somebody was terminated from a company, would they be hosting Zooms and phone calls and different things, trying to do damage control so that other people didn't leave? Maybe. Would it be this emotionally charged gossip posts kind of thing? No, I don't think so. That's just my opinion. Y'all can let me know what you think in the comments, but we've seen this before. I've experienced this. I remember very, very clearly when Jesse Lee was terminated from Monat. I remember hearing the phone call that Monat did. I think, was it a call or a Zoom? I don't remember. And I very clearly remember them using Moses and the burning bush from the Bible as an example, and spiritual manipulation and all kinds of stuff, because they didn't want people to follow Jesse Lee. And that's what's going to happen here. My prediction is that these people will join another multi-level marketing company. Some of their team will follow them, because that's, in my opinion, why they're rallying the troops in this video the way that they are. They're probably going to go to another company, and then it's going to cause more lawsuits. And I think that Monat is trying to prevent going bankrupt, essentially, again, in my opinion. And so it's going to get messy, which is what they're talking about. When you hear about this stuff, just consider the source. Well, that source, Monat, that's talking about you guys, allegedly, you guys were just endorsing, and probably would still be endorsing if you hadn't been terminated. It sucks that this person was terminated, but also this is MLM. This is what happens. These companies can do whatever they want. And then at the same time, I can see how this is all going to unfold. Okay, she's going to join another company. Other people are going to come with them. And while it's exciting, a win, if you will, if and when Monat shuts down because they lose even more people, but then it's another battle over here, and more misuse, in my opinion, of the legal system. So it's just, all of this is multifaceted, and, I'm glad that they're speaking out, but at the same time, why are they speaking out?
Consider us and consider the people that you know and love before you fall into that drama hole about what is about to happen, because over the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot of things that come out. So you all know Toni's heart. You all know my heart, my family's heart, and we never wanted it to come to this. There was always a better solution, but that's not the way the company chose to go. Toni literally built the company. She was the very first market partner, and it's been a great 10 years. We've made $15 million in 10 years. That's not
$1.5 million a year. Was that gross or net? How much of that income was based off of having a team, and how much of that was off of selling the product? 1.5 million a year. Yeah, how much were you spending on product for yourself and events and different things like that? What was your net? I'm just curious, because that $1 million example, $1 million earner, gets thrown around a lot, but that's typically gross. That's not what they're taking home, if you will. I just feel like that part is really deceptive. Also, I know they're no longer part of Monat, so they can, I guess, kind of say that, it's not an income claim that can get reported to Monat compliance. However, it can get reported to the Federal Trade Commission.
bad return of investment.
Yeah, but you know what?
And we've made a lot of friends.
Yeah, it's really about the relationships, and that is the best gift that we could have gotten, are the relationships. And also, he's always been a believer in Christ, but I was able to find my faith. I was able to, eminently grow as a person in more ways than I could ever imagine. So
You do not need a multi-level marketing company to grow as a person or grow spiritually. You can do all of that on your own. Give yourself some credit, Toni, for the work that you did. It's not the company. Also, isn't this the same company that was baptizing people in the hotel pool at one of their events? Oh,
I'm just so grateful for that. And for us, the relationships are always, they're always going to be number one. And thank you guys for all of you that came on here to support us. I know that there is going to be a lot of fallout, a lot of, upset, disgruntled people. But, at the end of the day, it's really about doing what's best that we feel for us and for y'all. So,
And one other thing too that I'd like to address.
yeah.
We haven't gone to another company. We're not
yet?
That's gonna be one of the things that's said. We haven't gone anywhere. We're just here, keep it on trucking. But there's no
We're just here keeping out of trouble. For now, right? You haven't joined another company yet. Because I'm sure that's coming. That's always what happens with these situations. They move on to another company. They move on to become an MLM coach in an industry that is predatory, where most people lose money. Oh, I hate it.
there was no agenda that we haven't left. And no, we just tried to ride it out because we owed so many of you our best effort. And
Yeah.
that's literally how we've always felt. We've owed you.
What? No, you didn't write it out because you owed everybody your best effort. You wrote it out because you were earning an income, because you were still getting paid off of that team. That is so manipulative. Just say that. Well, we were still, in the green, or we were still making money, so it didn't make any sense for us to leave. Just say that.
You our best effort because your success is our success and vice versa. And like I said, we never wanted to come to this, but y'all are going to be in our hearts, and we're praying for you too. I know that you all have been praying for us, but we're praying for you too.
All right, you guys. So enjoy your weekend. Happy Mother's Day to you, the mamas out there. Make sure you do something nice for yourself. And you know what? We just love you all. All right. Bye.
Bye.
That was that. Like I said a few minutes ago, I feel like this is multifaceted. And I know that there are going to be a lot of creators that talk about it. And I think that there's going to be a lot of opinions. And I think that that is awesome. I feel like this is unfortunate, but at the same time, I feel like this is what happens in multi-level marketing because these companies can do whatever they want. And it's unfortunate that these people, and when I say these people, I mean people in multi-level marketing, will say that they're their own boss when we have two very recent examples. I think Justin Prince was terminated from Modair in October. Here we have May of 2024, and Toni, the number one or the very first distributor in Monet, has been terminated. And it should be, in my opinion, a giant red flag for people that are in a multi-level marketing company. If you are in any company, doesn't matter whichever one, think to yourself, well, why would these two companies be getting rid of their top earners or their top leaders? It doesn't really make any sense. Well, if they allegedly are not doing as well financially as they want you to think, what are they going to do with that income that should have been paid to that distributor? Anyways, I know that there's going to be a lot of creators that cover this. I think it's awesome. I hope you guys go and support every single one of them. Like their videos, comment, and I'd like to hear your perspective as well. What do you think about this video? Do you think that it's as multifaceted as I think? Unfortunately, I think it's only going to be a matter of time before we figure out if Toni and her husband are going to another company or if they're going to become MLM coaches. And yeah, it's going to get real messy. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching all the way through. If you have not already liked and subscribed, it would be cool if you would do that. And guys, don't join an MLM. Okay? Don't do that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.